What's going on, guys? Got another one for you today. Just gonna kind of talk about bed fishing. One thing I've been wanting to talk about for a while now and make a video on, but the time's finally right to where bed fishing is happening. It's already started in some places, and it's gonna go throughout May. And if you're up smallmouth fishing, it's gonna be through June, July. So, gonna kind of talk about bed fishing today. Some things that I've learned over the years of doing it. Some things that has helped me catch a bunch more bass doing it. Some baits that they like. Some ways to fish for them, angles, stuff like that. So you guys stay tuned for that. This should be a good one. All right, so first things first, when it comes to bed fishing for a bass, man, that's just so fun to catch them bed fishing. But there's one thing you got to keep in mind every time that you're looking for a bass on the bed and you're trying to decide if you're going to catch it or not. And that's personally something that you've just got to learn over time. But really, the main way to tell if that fish is going to bite or not is the way he acts on the first cast. If you flip up on that bed that you see and that fish takes off 20 feet and takes 3 minutes to come back, that fish is not going to bite. Most of the time, if you throw on that bed and they swim 5 or 6 feet off and they come back within a minute or two, there's a chance they're going to bite. But if you flip up on that bed and that fish doesn't leave the bed, that fish is 99% of the time catchable. You just got to keep in mind, whenever you're bed fishing, normally, if it's in a tournament, you got to be smart about how long you want to spend on a bass. And that's really the number one way to tell how long you should spend on it. If you pull up there and that fish goes 100 miles an hour off the bed, he's scared, he's skittish, he either just got there or he's been caught or he's been fished for multiple times, he knows what's up. Most of the time, unless that fish is huge, I'm moving on to the next one, trying to find a new one. You just gotta kind of play around with it. The more comfortable that fish acts, obviously the more catchable it is. So if you flip up on that bed and that fish just kind of swims off real slow and he comes back, he's catchable most of the time. And, another way to tell if a fish is catchable, if he's swimming around that bed, kind of around the outside, and you keep flipping up on that bed and he starts getting tighter and tighter to the bed, to the middle of the bed, or to like a little bitty spot on the bed, that fish is catchable. A lot of times, those fish, whenever you first flip up there, they like to roam around the whole entire bed. But the more fired up you get that fish, the closer and tighter he gets to the middle of that bed, that means that fish is getting ready to bite. So just kind of always keep that in mind when you're bed fishing. As soon as you see that bass, just think about how that fish reacts. If he takes off 100 miles an hour, he's probably not going to bite. If he slowly swims off, comes right back, within a minute, maybe 2 minutes, that fish is catchable. It just may take some time. If that fish never leaves that bed, that fish is really, really catchable. You'll catch him really quick. So just kind of keep those couple things in mind. It'll definitely help you out when it comes to bed fishing for bass. All right, so the second most important thing when it comes to bed fishing is how to position the boat. Sometimes you pull up on a bass, and how you have the boat position will determine if that fish will bite or not. Sometimes it don't matter how aggressive that fish is. If you get too close to that fish, or he sees you, or it's obvious where you're at, that fish will not bite. Sometimes, obviously if he's if he's just one that's really aggressive and it's going to bite first cast, sometimes it don't matter where you're at. But some bass, obviously the bigger they get are really smart. So how to position the boat is very, very important. If you pull up on that bass and, it's really, really shallow and you get really close, I'm talking 5 less feet away from that bass, and you can obviously, everybody wants to see the bass more. You want to see that bass right there beside you on the bed, watch him eat your bait, all that good stuff. And sometimes you can do that, but sometimes that fish will not bite when you're up that close. So the farther you back away from that fish most of the time, the quicker that fish is going to bite, save you more time if you're in a tournament. And just the more aggressive they are. They feel like there's nobody, around them. They don't feel any presence of the boat. Believe it or not, them fish can feel that boat up close to them. I know, you wouldn't think that, but that big boat, in really, really shallow water, those fish can feel that. They can see that, and they obviously know something's up. So like I said, the farther you back away from that bed, the longer cast you make, the quicker that fish is most likely going to bite. Another thing to keep in mind is there's certain angles to a bass that they want on the bed. So if you cast up on that bed and that fish doesn't really react, but you cast on that back left side of the bed and that fish goes up there and starts getting interested, there's something about that spot in that bed that fish likes. Every fish, and this is 99% of the fish I've caught on the bed in my lifetime, almost all those fish have a spot in that bed that aggravates them more than the rest. I don't know why that is, but there's always one spot in that bed that makes that fish react more than other spots. So if you can ever find that spot, you know, back off that bed, make a long cast to it, keep hitting that spot, you'll catch that fish most of the time. And something I like to do personally is if I'm bed fishing and I see a white spot way up there, 60 yards away or 60 feet away, I'll make a bomb cast up there. And most of the time, if that fish is really aggressive, you're just going to catch them before you even get to them. Sometimes if you go over top of that bed and you spook them off, it takes forever, or you muddy the bed up. So the quicker you can cast on that sandy spot, the better chance you have for that fish to bite. So just kind of keep that in mind. Boat positioning is very, very important. The better you can hide that boat, the farther you can be away. If you can be in the shade while the fish is in the sun, you know, those things matter. Those things will, I mean, you can always catch the fish. It may take you 3-4 hours if you're just obviously right beside it and it's a really smart fish. But if you get in that shade or you back way away and you make a bomb cast, that from 3 to 4 hours might go 20 to 30 minutes of bed fishing for that bass. So those small things like that definitely matter when it comes to bed fishing, so keep that in mind. All right, so something else that really matters when it comes to bed fishing is the clothes you wear. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but bass can definitely see you when they're on the bed and you're in very, very, very shallow water. Bright color clothes, you know, for example, like a bright red or, you know, something like yellow or something like that really stands out to the fish. It's not a normal color that they see most of the time. That can definitely affect the way that fish reacts or how quick he bites when that fish is on the bed. The more you blend in, like I said, the farther you are away, the more you blend in with the surroundings, that fish will definitely bite quicker. Anything you can do, you know, for your advantage of catching that bass, trust me, it helps. And that goes from the clothes you're wearing to how far you are away to being in the shade to longer cast. All that good stuff matters, and it'll definitely shorten your time of how long you spend on that bass to catch it. Each bass on the bed likes different presentations. I've caught bass on lizards, I've caught bass on Senkos, caught bass on wacky rigs, speed crawls, all that good stuff on the bed. But every bass likes something different. I have fished for bass, just say with a Senko on the bed, right? 20 minutes, flipping up there, tying on a lizard, bites third cast. That's just not coincidence. That fish wanted that bait. It's something about that bait triggered that fish to bite, and that's something you just got to play around with on, you know, when you're bed fishing as well. It's just have 10 or 12 baits right there and just rotate through those baits till you find one that fish really, really reacts to, and then pick on them with that bait. And then if he starts going away from that bait, tie on a new bait, flip it back in there. And I'm not even talking about different baits. I'm talking about different colors. You can have speed crawls, and you have a white, you flip in there, you have a black and red. And then if he's not messing with that, you tie on a lizard, black and red, or something like that. And sometimes that fish will instantly get triggered, and you catch that fish way faster. If you're just flipping the same bait in that bed and that fish is not doing anything, not reacting, you're wasting your time. So just change it up. I have literally fished for a fish with a black and red flake speed crawl for 25 minutes and tied on a white speed crawl, first cast in there, he bites it. You know, that's something that fish really wanted. It triggered him. You know, and that's something that we can't never really understand in bass, but you can always just change your baits up and make them bass react. There's something most of those bass will react to on the bed. You just got to play around with it, go through your whole box, throw everything you got at them. But most of the time, those fish will react. There is something you can catch them on. Just got to take your time, back up, make the right presentation, hide your boat, you know, be as camouflaged as you can. As crazy as that sounds, it does matter. Be stealthy and have fun with it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this helped you out a little bit. Catching bass on the bed is definitely one of my favorites. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Look forward to some more stuff like this. If you could, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what else you guys would like to see. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.